This report brought to you by the Richmond Club, where investors and high-growth companies meet.
For that, Glenn. And our next presenter is the President and CEO of MAG Silver Corporation, George Paspalas.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for having us along today. I'm joined with Michael Curlock, our Vice President of Communications and Investor Relations. We like to show this slide. Right? Most companies whip through their forward-looking statements. We have a mantra at MAG. We've had a history since 2003, when we IPO'd the company, of turning forward-looking statements into facts. And I hope to convince you of that by the time we've finished our presentation today. We're a very solid company starting in the boardroom. If you have a look at our list of directors, there's a number of current and previous CEOs in the sector of significant organisations. Management's comprised, our whole company's comprised of 8 people on the employees in the company. Lots of grey hair, lots of people who have been through the cycle of the 90s. And the company's in very good hands, and this company's not going to blow up. We have a great balance sheet. We have $142 million of cash at the end of Q3, which is enough capital to take us through to cash flow from the asset we are currently building with our partner Fresnillo in Mexico. We only have 85.5 million shares on issue, and like the previous speaker, we're squeaky clean. There's no warrants, there's no smoke and mirrors on roll-ups. We've raised over $240 million of equity capital in this company. Typically, we issue capital at 52-week highs. 2 of the last 3 raises have been in stinky markets when other companies are trading at 52-week lows, and we've capitalised the company at 52-week highs. We're on sale at the moment. It's a place that we're not used to being, but we've traded down with the rest of the sector. Silver, Mexican silver. And it's an unusual place for us to be, but it's a great opportunity for you people to get in. We're a development company. We're 2 years from cash flow. We have what would be considered a blue chip institutional investment register. A lot of those institutions have been in this company for 5-8 years. The reason why? A very good asset is available at the moment at a very affordable price. Lots of analysts cover us. You can have a look at the website, www.magsilver.com, and see what these people say about us. And there's our share price profile. As I said, it's uncharted ground for us to be trading at 50% what we were a year ago, but it does represent a buying opportunity. We're in Mexico, in the state of Zacatecas. There are 14 plus billion ounce silver deposits in the world. 9 of the 14 are in Mexico. So if you want to go and find an elephant, you should go to elephant country, and that's right where we are. Now this shows the portal to our operation. I think this is a video, and there's the portal, and we're going to kick in some animation here hopefully. So we started ramping into the deposit in October of 2003, and you can see there now the grey material is 1.2 million ounces, 1.2 million tonnes of waste have been extracted from the mine, essentially building initially this single ramp down to that coloured material down there, which is called the Bonanza zone. We did some sterilisation drilling in the Bonanza zone in 2015, and we actually found that the mineralisation continued, which is very unique in this area. And so we had to twin the ramp, we upsized the project, and now you can see coming into now October of 2018, we're over 16 kilometres of development to the top of the mineralised envelope, and now we're descending in the hanging wall, and we're getting ready to mine material to bring up to the plant for processing mid-2020. Show that to any mining engineer and they'll say, wow, over the course of the last 5 years, you guys have built an underground mine. And that's a very important takeaway, because one of the reasons we are trading as low as we are at the moment, people are concerned about whether with our partner Fresnillo, we are going to build this mine on schedule. And there you are, we're now descending into the mineralised envelope for us. Juanicipio joint venture, that's our most advanced, well, that's our major project. It's the one that we've advanced the most, and it's a remarkable project. It's got an after-tax IRR of 44%. It's got at least a 19-year mine life. It's got far more than that. That's a forward-looking statement, and I'll come and talk to you in 20 years and we'll still be operating this asset. And as good as that asset is, the real story here in MAG is there's significant upside potential remaining on that joint venture ground. This shows the Fresnillo trend. As I said, elephant country. One in every 10 ounces of silver ever made existing on the planet as silver metal comes from this area in Mexico. It's the preeminent silver district in the world, and you can see the blue area in, I don't need to point there. The blue area in the middle here is the joint venture ground nestled in against the Fresnillo holdings. As we zoom in on the joint venture ground, we see a green area here where we've purchased surface access rights to set up the portal up to the north of the joint venture ground. The joint venture has purchased farms. We own that land freehold to build the process facility. And this is an important picture. Now, people have been mining silver here for 500 years. Fresnillo have been mining here for 130 years. And the important takeaway here for MAG is Fresnillo is the operator. Fresnillo are going to build, in fact, the third facility on the same vein. So, you've all seen exploration companies. I was a chief operating officer for one who built their first mine in Argentina. It's a very difficult cultural change in an organisation to go from exploration to a developer to a producer. Fresnillo do this. We're very fortunate to have Fresnillo do this for us in their backyard on something they've done twice before. This is the world's largest silver mine, the Silver operation. When the joint venture operation, Valdecanas, comes into production, it will be the world's largest silver mine. So we're very fortunate to have Fresnillo as our partner, as the operator on the business. But I want to show you how good this asset is. Those red lines show the top of the vein. Luckily for us, it dips into the joint venture by about, on average, 58 degrees. If you go 350 metres below the surface, here's the bonanza zone. And that was sort of the basis of our technical report of 2012. As I said, in 2015, we put these 4 holes underneath to prove that this bonanza zone was like every other one of those red lines you saw on the map, that they have about 300 or 400 metres of mineralisation and then they're finished. And we didn't do a very good job of sterilising it. What we found underneath it, the mineralisation continued. It actually got a lot wider, up to 6 times wider, and it's opened everywhere at depth. And here is our resources from that first 3 programs of drilling, and we're continuing to drill there at the moment. And we see a substantial resource now. Both those categories are about double the size of the bonanza zone. So this is just under 300 million ounces of silver already in the ground, 1.5 million ounces of gold. That's a great deposit in any gold mining company. The gold here accounts for 7% of the revenue from the project. Over 1 billion ounces of lead and over 2 billion ounces of zinc. Remember, this is going to grow. Another forward-looking statement. I'll come and talk to you about that next year. This shows the 2 PEAs we've put out now. In 2012, it was the bonanza zone. It was a $300 million capex, 43% after-tax IRR. It had a 15-year mine life, and that was the size of it, 2,650 tonnes per day. With that massive increase in mineralisation at depth, the operator was Fresnillo were very quick to jump on some sizing studies, and we came up with a 4,000 tonne per day operation. Typically in the mining business, you increase the size of your operation, you decrease your mine life. But that didn't happen here. There's so much mineralisation at depth, the mine life actually goes out to 19 years. Lower metal prices, but we still maintain a 44% after-tax IRR, and we actually jacked the tax rate up as well. The capex is a bit higher because it's bigger. It's gone from 3,600 to 4,000 tonnes per day. There's commensurate capital increases with that. But an extraordinary robust project, and this is where we're at the moment. Both the declines down to the mineralisation are completed now. Underground development continues, and we're now at the stage of ordering long lead items for the plant. We're negotiating EPCM contracts with the operator, and this is still on target to come into production mid-2020. This just shows a 3D in 2D of the underground infrastructure, and Keith's friend Peter McGaw, the discoverer, 2003, he came on that joint venture ground, stuck his heel in the ground, said drill there, and hole 001, discovery of the Juanicipio vein. He's still our Chief Exploration Officer. He loves this, he ain't going anywhere. He's an important part of our DNA. This shows some of the surface construction now. This is the conveyor that brings the crushed ore out from underground to the surface where the millworks are. This is a great place to build a mine. Right? There's 3 operating mines within the 6-kilometre radius. There's the Fresnillo Road, there's the Fresnillo power line, there's water, there's a 500-year mining history culture with the people in the area. A lot easier than building in a lot of the places I've built mines around the world, I can tell you. Lots of numbers up here. You can look at these on the presentation, you've got it there, or it's on the website. Today's metal prices shown here. The only thing you need to remember here, at $8 silver, and we don't believe silver's going to $8. At $8 silver, this industry shut down. At $8 silver, this project has a 15% after-tax IRR. So we don't keep the lights on at $8 silver, we have a handsome return. It's a box ticker. I talk about access, talk about all the good things of where it's located, but the bottom box is important, significant exploration upside. This shows sort of the genesis of the exploration of the property. We initially found the west-east veins. We then got a bit of a sniff of this deep zone. We put those 4 yellow holes down, sterilisation holes, screwed that up. And here you see the big deep zone coming in here, this dilatant zone now 30 metres wide, and now a new system in anticipation of more mineralisation. The Anticipada came in. I say we have a 19-year mine life. We're only mining 17 million of 25 million tonnes. We've been very conservative with our 43101 PEA. What's 30 metres wide mean when you're down there mining a vein? 2 school buses, end-to-end in line. So very significant sort of in terms of mining cost reduction as you get deeper in a mine. You don't see that very often. So it's a remarkable asset. It'll continue to grow. We're drilling that deeper area now, and we look forward to updating you on that later. That slide's in case the video doesn't work. This shows the metal zonation from top to bottom of the Bonanza zone. Typical epithermal vein systems in Fresnillo. Silver rich at the top, lead and zinc dominant at the bottom. But this one's different. Unlike all those other red lines, this has gold throughout the system, and it has copper at depth. Unique. What makes it unique? We've found now, with these 3 deeper drilling programs, we're living every geologist's dream. The bottom of this system in Valdecanas represents the fluid upwelling zone of the metals. The source. Every geologist wants to find a source. That's what this represents here. So every structure we're going to find around here when we drill will be mineralised. Because you're close to the source, every pulse of metals that comes up in those solutions deposits first in this system. So it's a remarkably unique geological asset on the planet. There's only one ever known other upwelling zone in this system, and it was mined from 1552 to 1937. So I do think we have more than 19-year mine life here. And we've had remarkable success with exploration just on those two red lines. Now, Peter and the rest of the company, we really want to get away from that. Because what we've seen, after our discovery here, we offered an earn-in to Fresnillo to come in, give us some money, spend some money on drilling, and earn into 56% of the joint venture and the operatorship. When it was understood how we found this, 650 million ounces of silver were found down here on the other side of the joint venture ground. And what we're seeing now over the last 10 years is an army of drill rigs marching towards the joint venture boundary. And so we believe there's very strong possibilities that there will be more of these red lines found on the continuation of this. In fact, down here, Fresnillo have just announced that they're bringing that new vein they found about a year and a half ago into production. So there's a lot more to come. The Hollywood problem for us in exploration in mag is we can't get away from that beast. Not bad, we're building a mine there. No better place to find more rocks you're going to mine than where you're building a mine. And to put it all in perspective, here's the joint venture ground. We've only explored that little corner. And we've got $1 billion company at these discount prices and almost a $500 million resource, a $500 million ounce resource. And the new learning from that deep drilling now is that, if you remember, all those lines on that, it's a 10-minute presentation, I can't go through everything in detail, but all those red lines on that plan map all go generally east to west. Why is that? Okay, it's a natural fabric, structural fabric of the area. But for 500 years, that's how people looked for veins. What we're finding now, that there's great, very strong geological thesis for structures to be running in the other inclination, south to north. We've just drilled these, we're starting to see results. I think we'll have more forward-looking statements getting turned into facts. And what that means on this joint venture ground is there's a number of jointly agreed exploration targets between Fresnillo and ourselves that we should drill. So that's mag. Mag's all about Juanicipio. We're well funded. The project's coming into cash flow. Significant cash flow for the company, the mid-2020, and we've only just scratched the surface. Thank you.
This report brought to you by the Richmond Club, where investors and high-growth companies meet.